Hi, Katie. If you're watching this, Aubrey's crying. Jason is crying. Kyler wishes he'd cry, but he doesn't have any tears left. We miss you. We hope you get feeling better. And somebody in here has a crush on you, but we won't say who it is. Timeout? No. No timeouts. Okay. So, number one. A bank account has $5 right now, is growing at 7%. How much money will there be in 12 years? This one's super easy because we're solving for y. So it's just y equals, hey, relax. Relax. Hey, nobody gets 7% interest anyway. Interest now is like 0.2%. Unless you're at the UPNO credit union, it's like 1%, which is amazing. Yeah. So 5 times, what is my m value? 0.7 to the 12th. So that's pretty easy. Oops, let's get out of this. 5 times 1.07 to the 12th. And in 12 years, you'd have $11.26. That, I mean, doubling your money, that's pretty impressive to double your money. Of course, 7% is, you'd have to play the stock market to get that. You're not going to get that in a savings account. Or rob a guy. You could rob the guy that played the stock market. You could rob the guy that robbed the guy that played the stock market. What? I got like 25 cents in my drawer. But that 25 cents isn't going to be worth the headache I'm going to give you. Okay. So, here, let's shake hands. All right. Number 2. Jessica bought a house that will be worth $112,000 in 17 years. The value increases at 2% each year. How much did she pay for the house? What are we looking for? We're looking for B. So it would be 112,000 equals B times, what's my M value? No, that's if it was dropping. 1.02 to the 17th. So how do I solve for B? No. What's holding the B and all that other stuff together? So this, that's a multiply, so we're going to divide by 1.02 to the 17th. Divided by so 79,980. I bet she paid 80,000. What do you bet? 79,986 and 20 cents. 21 cents. You think so? Well, yeah, this is this is principal only. Okay, number 3. Bill owns a boat that was worth 17,000 when he bought it 5 years ago. If right now the boat is worth 11,500, how fast has the value been dropping? What are we looking for? Not really M. We're looking for M so that we can create the percentage of decrease. So this would be Y, this is X, and this is B. So 17,000 equals 11,500 times M to the negative 5. What would I do first? Divide by 11,500. It's not backwards. Right, so this past value lines up with, you could flip them, but that, well, if I were to flip the 17 and the 11, then I'd have to change it to positive 5. So at any time you can flip the y and the b, just change the value of the x. But I want my x to match up what it says in the story, and the story said 5 years ago. So that's kind of a heads up. If your x is negative, then this value has to be something that's already occurred. If I flipped it and said it was worth 17,000, but it lost money for positive 5 years, then it would drop down to 11,500. And so y and b can always be switched. It will just change the value, the sign of your x. All right, so 70 divided by 115. So this basically says, well, actually, can you guys interpret this number? What's 47%? So well, it's kind of backwards, so it's kind of tricky. But it's basically saying 11,500, no, sorry, 17,000 is 47% larger than 11,500. Does that make sense? So in the course of 5 years, to get from here to here, the value has increased 47%. But we need to break that 47% into the negative fifth square root. And whenever you square root with a negative, you have to use parentheses. So I'm going to do negative 5, math, x root, and then I'm just going to do answer. So what does this number say? Right. 0.92 tells us how much you get to keep each year. So once you calculate m, then you need to turn it into the rate of decrease, which would be 8%, or I guess you could say 7.5%. So whenever you're solving for m, m is not the answer. M is the number you need, and then you subtract 1. So if I did subtract 1, depending on where you round, 8% or 7.5%, whatever. Okay? All right. You would like to buy an MP3 player worth 300 bucks. The value of the player will drop 15% each year. When the value reaches 200, you want to sell it and buy a new one. How long will that take? So what are we solving for? X. So this would be 200 equals 300. What's my m value? 0.85. The x. Now, we're going to have to guess. So here's what I'm going to do. Today's the last day you're going to have to guess. Well, it's not. It takes some time to warm you up. But these are jumping jacks, right? We're going to play ball later. Do we still do jumping jacks? When I started school in the late 80s, we were doing jumping jacks. So I'm going to plug that into my y equals, and I'm going to do second table. Looking at the table, it's somewhere between 2 and 3. But when you're dealing with sequences, the x answers have to be whole numbers. But in the real world, they don't have to be. Right? So this is not going to be a nice year. And if we look at 2 and 3, is it going to be closer to 2, closer to 3, or somewhere in the middle? Somewhere in the middle. So the easiest way to do your guesses is to push trace. And I'm going to guess 2.5. And that's really close. In fact, it's only 17 cents off. But for your answer, I wanted to say 200 point something. So do I need to move my x's up or down? Well, this is dropping, right? So if I go further in the future, it's going to be worth less money. So I'm going to guess 2.4. That's not far enough. 2.45. Not quite. 2.48. I'm within $1. We'll call that good. You can get within $1 and actually within $1 on either side. I'll be happy. Now, what if I look at my table? Well, first off, notice there is no graph. Why isn't there a graph? Well, the y value is way up at 200. The calculator doesn't seem to care if the number you're finding is above or below the given window. That's fine. But if I tried to plug in, say, x equals 12, then it freaks out. Because as far as the calculator is concerned, your domain dictates your world. So this world only exists between -10 and 10 on the x value. As far as the outputs go, the calculator doesn't care if the outputs are above or below. So if I wanted to plug in 12, I'd have to change my x max to say, I don't know, 25. Wonder if I can get far enough where I can actually see the graph. Ooh, I can see it now. So I could do trace and plug in 12, and then it's still above the graph. But as far as your calculator is concerned, you can only plug in x's that are within the given domain. For some reason, it won't let you. It doesn't care if it goes off the graph above, but if it goes to the left or to the right, then it won't let you plug them in. Yes, it does. So, Katie, if you're still watching, we miss you. And your secret admirer has now come forward, and his